I want to show you what I think is one of the easiest ways to master audio with one click. As you can see, I have some footage here in Premiere, and this is the raw footage from the shoot. So I'm just going to select all my audio. I'm going to right click and hit Edit Clip in Adobe Audition. It'll render and replace. That usually goes pretty quick. And you can see those were swapped to WAV files. And by doing this, Audition is going to open up automatically. And once we're in it, I'll show you the secret magic. In Audition, all you need to look for is this match loudness setting. If you don't see it, it's under Window, Match Loudness. Turn it on. Select all your WAV files. It doesn't matter how many you have. In this case, I have 4. You could do it with 40 or 400. Drag them all into Match Loudness. Here are the settings I prefer. You can tweak these if you like, but my target loudness I have set to -18, tolerance 1, max true peak is -4.5. Basically, it's not going to get louder than that. And I like setting it a little bit lower and not maxing it out at 0. That gives me extra room for music, sound effects, or anything else that's going to amplify the volume. Look ahead time is 10 milliseconds and release time is 100 milliseconds. Again, you can play with these settings if you want, but these are just ones I like. Once they're in here, all you do is hit run and watch the magic happen. Audition is going to analyze all your waveforms and match the loudness across all of them, even within the same track. So it's not a volume adjustment of each track, it's actually adjusting the gain throughout the track, making those small changes that you would be doing manually by hand in less than 5 seconds. You can see how everything normalized, and the really cool part is back in Premiere. Once I save all these, we'll let them save as waves. They'll write over the WAV file, and that's totally fine. This is non-destructive, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. When we bounce back to Premiere, watch those WAV files. Look how much more even that looks than it did before. So even in ideal circumstances, when you're recording consistent volume, there are still the fluctuations in how people speak that make sometimes louder, sometimes quieter, and that can be very tedious to do by hand, but this solves all those problems. I like to do it at the start of my project so I don't have to worry about it later. I've basically mastered all of my audio in one click. The same is true for longer form content as well. Here's a 45-minute podcast or so. Same thing. I'm going to right click. I'm going to edit clip in Adobe Audition. It's going to render and replace that. You can see how fast that goes for something that's nearly 50 minutes long. It's pretty quick. So if you have an hour, 2 hours of footage, totally fine. If you have more audio tracks, it will go a little bit slower, but it's pretty fast. Here I've got that audio. Look at how the fluctuations in the audio, and I'm running it through a nice audio system that's already doing some mastering and limiting for me, but I can make it even better by running it through Match Loudness. I can actually remove all these other ones. It doesn't matter, but I'll drop this into Match Loudness. I'll hit run, same settings. They're the same settings I've been using for the last 3 or 4 years now. It works basically every time. It's going to run. It's going to apply the Match Loudness settings. You do have to wait. So if there's more audio you need to process, this is something that can happen in the background while you go make a cup of coffee or something like that. And here we go. Analyzing statistics, the last step. Time remaining, 5 seconds. Goes pretty fast. And you can already see the waveforms hitting that -4.5, exactly where I set those peaks to hit. Everything is leveled and matched, and it just works great. We'll save over that. Rewriting over the WAV file takes a few seconds, nothing major, and then we'll bounce back to Premiere, and I'll show you how to undo this if you're ever worried about making a mistake or you want to do it again. I will say this works 99.9% of the time. There might be that 0.1% of the time where you need to do some finessing after the fact, but for the most part, this just always works, and it sounds great. You can do EQ stuff, noise removal, all of that as well, and that's fine. It'll make it sound better. But if you're recording good, high-quality audio, this is going to take care of basically all the heavy lifting of just making it sound all the same volume. So here we have that WAV file back in Premiere. You can see sometimes it even changes the color so you know it's different, but if you're ever worried, just look at the extension. If you right-click and you go to Restore Unrendered, that will bring you back to the original audio that was here. So even if you want to do it again, try it again, totally fine. You can undo it as you want. And what's cool is that if you pop into Finder and you take a look, it made WAV files for you. I like to always record my audio to the camera. That way I never have to worry about sync issues. But now I have these WAV files that I can do whatever I want. So let's say after the fact, maybe my project's done and I want to add a little bit of EQ or I want to remaster something. I can go to these WAV files and do it, write over them, and it'll affect every spot in my edit. Now, it is crucial. The most important thing, do this first. Before you start editing, before you start doing anything else, do this first, because the problem is if you start making cuts, what's going to happen is that when you go to edit and replace in Audition, what's going to happen is that it's going to make WAV files for each of those cuts. And that completely defeats the purpose. You lose your sync. You don't have waves for your video anymore. They're all little clips, and you don't want that. So I like to master first, get my audio all leveled and even first, and then I'll start doing my edit. It's easy to forget. It's an easy step to miss. Do it first. Do not forget, or you will be paying the price later. It's an easy mistake to make. I've made it myself, and you only have to make it once, and then you'll regret it forever. So my best recommendation, do this first. Don't forget. So right when you build your project, basically you import the footage, you throw it on a timeline, master all of it. Master your B-roll, master your talking head stuff, your scenes, whatever it is. Get it all synced up, master it, and then start editing. It works for long form, it works for short form. It'll make everything sound uniform and the same, so you're not wondering why some things are loud, some things are quiet. It can fix volume differences between different speakers. It is that good. The moment I saw this match loudness tool and saw how well it worked and how fast it worked, it increases efficiency off the charts compared to how anyone would master audio by hand themselves. This is a lifesaver, it's a game changer, and that's why I wanted to show you. It works so well, saving hours, days, weeks in some situations just for how fast it is. And all you have to do, run it through this process one time, and there's no noticeable audio distortion or issues. It doesn't impact the quality of the audio in any negative way, considering that you've recorded it pretty good to start. It can be a little quiet, it can be a little loud, and that's fine. It'll fix all those issues for you. It's not going to fix every problem, but when it comes to normalizing volume, it works better than any other thing I found, and it just works. And then you get the benefits of those WAV files separately. So I highly recommend you try it out.